Well, we thought we would start off today by bringing two puppies into the studio, and in the space of 40 minutes, they've pissed on the floor, eaten one of your SD cards, and taken the mic fluffy and chewed it up.
But we love them.
But we love them. And this is really special as well because Ben is the guy behind the camera that you never ever see, who I think we should petition a documentary about because you are the weirdest fucking guy that I know. You're the guy that you call who knows a guy that can fit any situation that you're in.
Confirmed.
The idea for Return to the Roots was to capture the storyline. So before any of the music had even been started for Return to the Roots, the creative idea, the concept, the branding, the marketing, the story was planned before the music was written, which is not how I've ever done things before. You know, while we were filming this project, developing the storyline, you know, Jamie got diagnosed with cancer, and then we've had the whole balls up with the surgeries and me getting mast cell activation syndrome and cancelling shows, and all of that has actually just been captured because we were already filming, which has actually changed our storyline for what the initial project was meant to be.
Definitely. And it sort of, as it sort of changed as well, you could feel the change as well. The emotion changed, I feel. It started to get deeper. It was always real, but it started to get, I felt like it started to get more raw. So it was like you could feel the heart behind it because you were just channeling that, you know, and you were taking that to the music of what was going through with Jamie, and, you know, you brought that all through, and that's when I sort of felt we were recording, but I could just see there was like so much emotion. It was just hard on the sleeve stuff, it was powerful to record because you're always in your domain doing your thing, but when there's real, raw and current emotion attached to it that's happening at that right time, it just brings a whole new level.
I kind of just kept creating music, and I released Flow State and I released Terra Firma and I released Sugar, and then throughout that I realised that I was actually losing connection with myself, and I was losing connection with my audience because they weren't actually a part of the journey that I was on. They were just getting the music delivered after I'd finished with it. They weren't part of the story.
Yeah.
And I felt like there was a disconnect that needed to be retold, which is like, hey, you know me as this certain type of artist, but I have a way bigger story to tell, and I find it quite difficult to be emotionally vulnerable. Like, I've never cried in front of my mates and barely cry in front of myself. I don't know why. Yeah. And I really went there with this project, and I just thought, fuck it, I'm telling the full story, the whole story. And when you're delivering that on the world stage, on top of your music anyway, it's a pretty naked place to be.
Yeah.
But those moments don't happen unless they're actually captured by someone who I really didn't want to allow into my space for a long time. I was kind of like, I just didn't trust people. I don't trust people easily.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like everyone, from my perspective too, filming shows as well, and like everyone sees the sparkle and they see, you know, what's delivered, but for me it's almost like watching raindrops, and it's sort of like, well, you can see the rain, but the thing that really makes it is when you hear the audio with the raindrop. It's the story it's half of the story which was missing, and that was the creation. And until sort of now, like there hasn't been such a big deep dive into it, and from that it's just truth, honest, raw, and it's just putting out fires, you know, in life stuff, personal, business, everything. Like, and I felt that we both had that simultaneously going through that,
because it's not enough anymore to just be an artist. And just that.
For sure.
You can't, that just being an artist and only that is dead now. Like, especially because I'm independent, I'm taking on the vision and the work of a creative team and a label, really. Like, I don't have anyone doing my stuff. Like, I'm in here writing everything, playing everything. You know, if I've got to mix it, I will. I master stuff if I've got to. I've produced it. I've written it all, orchestrated all the rehearsals, built the shows out into the rig, as well as pretty much adopting a full-time content creator platform as well, because the world's changed. People aren't sitting down and just listening to a new record that comes out because your favorite artist has released a record. Like, there's so much saturation in the market right now that you've got to actually connect with your audience on a personal level. They need to know you.
Definitely. And I think that the thing is that because that hasn't been shown before, it's had such good feedback, you know what I mean? Like, it's always been booked behind closed doors, and you fall in love even more with your artists, and artists that people like when you hear their story, you know, and when you know what they're like, and, you know, working with you, there's no ego attached to it. It's just two mates recording, being creative.
Like, I find it very hard to connect with the kids with the silver spoon in their mouth who have just been delivered the world and haven't had to try for anything, and they're pretty much guaranteed success from the minute they're born, just from luck.
Yeah.
Just from luck. It's no one's fault. It's just luck. You can't choose your parents. And but like, there's just heaps of like misconceptions about the type of person that I am, and you can only tell the story to a degree, and people care or they don't. But the big thing is that I've wanted to get out of the pigeonhole that I felt that I'd been placed in for the past few years.
For sure.
Because there was no new story being told. Yeah. Because I had stopped telling it.
But then, you know, this for future banking, you can actually look back in 10 years' time and go, hey, what was I actually like mindset-wise back 10 years from now during that EP? And you've got literally like a documentary filled of everything that you've gone through mentally, physically, emotionally, in relationships, personal, everything. And I think that's a really cool thing just to like stamp in time as well for business, but also for you.
My audience just had the idea of that I'm this like live looping busker that had a drug problem. Yeah. And that was part of the story, but that's not what I am now. Like, I have also started multiple businesses and run a charity, and I have a booking agency, and I'm married, like, there's just so much more to the story than where it stopped for some people. Because when you're a breaking artist, right, everything around you is on heat. Career's on steroids. You get that viral song, you have that viral moment that just catapults you above where you thought that you were ready to be, and then you just put up here for a while, and you didn't learn how to deal with all of this shit in the middle, which is exactly what happened to me with Jungle. And there's also like a bit of a fantasy and fairy tale that you get yourself into, or that I got myself into, that not every song is going to ascend the previous song. You may only have one hit. It's very hard to have more than one hit. Yeah. Like, you can get one song that just breaks you, and it's fucking hard to continue to do it. And the music industry changes around you, and you have to adapt to that, which can be really difficult because there's a resistance of, I don't want to be a full-time creator. I don't want to, well, right now the trend is being a country musician. So you get all these big bulletproof modules going country because that's where the market's at right now. And before that it was punk. And before that it's like R&B, and then it's been like trap, and then it's been hip hop, and it just goes through cycles. Yeah. And you got to think about what kind of artist do you want to be, because that success on any level is not guaranteed. You have a big song that goes crazy for 18 months, your tours spike, ticket sales go through the roof, your merch goes amazing, and then boom, after that 18 months, what's happened? There's another artist that's doing exactly what you were just doing, and it just keeps going, and you move further and further out of people's conscious mind and more into the background, and people end up saying to you, oh, do you still play music?
Like, you're a storyteller, and that's what the music is for you, is telling stories. And Sometimes stories can't be told in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And
Yeah.
your story, which we've started to dive into a bit deeper now with Return to the Roots and the EP, is a story which has got layers and layers, of all these things which we've unpacked and continuing to unpack.
The importance of capturing everything that we have for Return to the Roots is, like I said earlier, so much of my recording process has not been banked. Like, there's no story behind Flow State. There's no story that's been told behind Terra Firma or Sugar or anything. And, I had these 6 songs that I wanted to mean much more than just 6 tracks. This is my favourite body of work that I've done, Return to the Roots. All 6 of these tracks, I love them equally. They're all a different story. And I think it's like, I feel similar to how I used to feel when I wrote music when I was younger, where I was like excited about it and there was no expectation of what it was going to do because no one fucking knew me. So I just wrote what I wanted to write with no interference from the outside world whatsoever. But yeah, this is who I am, and that's the statement that I wanted to make. I am a looper. I am a multi-instrumentalist. I can do all these things on my own, but I also do like the colour and collision of having other people in my space now to musically enhance what I couldn't do before they walked in. So this is a very DIY project, but it's also quite collaborative as well, and everything to do with the branding and the marketing and the vision and the execution was thought out before the songs were even made. So that when you see that Checkers background and those lips with the acid tab on the tongue, that belongs to me.